A couple of days ago, that looked like it might be a more significant threat of snow, maybe freezing rain, but that has backed off, at least trends have.
He says some spots could still get a couple inches, and he urges you to be on the lookout for rain next week. Indianapolis police say 2 men were arrested after a traffic stop in Chase Thursday. Officers searched the car that Anthony Anderson and Damon Rowe Jr. were in, plus a home connected to their investigation. They found 40 pounds of drugs, among other things. On Friday, the Indiana Department of Natural Resources and the city of Fishers honored the opening of the extension of the Nickel Plate Trail. That included a bridge for pedestrians which connects to Indianapolis. And former Indiana Hoosier quarterback Fernando Mendoza spoke at the NFL Combine on Friday in Indianapolis. Here's John Herrick.
The majority of mock drafts have Mendoza as the #1 overall pick to the Las Vegas Raiders, but he says he's not letting that affect his mindset.
I'm just trying to be the best me possible. And whatever team drafts me, I'm grateful, whether it's the #1 pick or whether it's, the 199th pick.
Mendoza says he's had a formal interview with the Raiders where they went over some of his previous plays and had him draw some other plays on a board in front of him. He led the Hoosiers to their first ever football championship in January. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. And now here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center with Stephen Deanna.
Going into Sunday, partly cloudy skies to start, mostly cloudy skies to finish. Temperatures a bit cooler with a high near 40 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Mike Rowe, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
We need each other because every someone needs someone else.
We need each other because when we work together, we can do so much more.
We connect more children with what they need to grow up healthy, educated, and safe. And that's what Child Fund is all about.
Because when you make someone's world better, you make everyone's world better.
Child Fund, because we need each other.
Learn more at childfund.org. That's childfund.org.
Join us every Friday right around 5:50 for Beer Sample Friday.
Brought to you by Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, home of free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment, and this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good evening and welcome to the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. I am sure that you have been wired to the TV or Fox News on the radio today following the events in Iran, as I have been. Momentous events. This is a big deal. And the ramifications for the Middle East, the ramifications for things like oil prices, the ability to get oil through the Hormuz Strait, all the different ramifications, permutations, impacts of these events, in addition to the fact that now we have people on multiple military bases in the Middle East that are in harm's way, that are subject to the rocket missile attacks, etc., from Iran. A lot going on, a lot to be concerned about. Is toppling this dictatorship, this oppressive regime in Iran a big deal? Yes. Is maintaining the security of the United States and Israel and our allies in the Middle East against this regime important? Absolutely. And again, the global political ramifications of all of this are just extreme. It's a big deal. It's something worthy of a lot of attention. And I'm sure, again, that if you've been listening to WIBC throughout the day, you've heard the Fox News live feed, and I listened to that intently. And again, because this is something that I think we'll remember, our kids will remember, because it's a significant issue. At the same time, as someone who has taken responsibility for my own safety, my own security, the safety and security of my family, and wanting to play a role in the safety and security of my community, when I see these events unfolding in Iran, one of my first thoughts is, okay, what does this do here domestically in terms of risks that we need to be aware of, we need to be mindful of, we need to keep an eye out for right here domestically? And you're saying, hold on, wait a minute. What are you talking about, Rutherford? This is a war going on in the Middle East. Iran is many, many thousands of miles away from here. Why are you talking about what's going on here? Well, there's always the potential for terrorism and acts of terrorism here. And one of the first things that I thought of when I saw this attack by the United States and Israel, the coordinated attack on military assets of Iran, on any reconstituted nuclear capabilities and infrastructure that they're trying to maintain or resume there in Iran. When I saw what was going on, and then President Trump's speech, where he indicated that he intends to eradicate the Navy, the missile capability, and essentially the military capability of the Islamic Republic of Iran, excuse me. When I saw all of that, again, that's the focus. But again, what I do for a living, what my focus has been, what I've taught for generations, a couple of generations anyway, it involves and makes me reflective on issues around personal security right here at home. And here's where those two things intersect. One of the things that I looked into after Operation Midnight Hammer, and if you don't remember that term, that's what we talked about when late June last year, we sent some B-2 bombers and some bunker buster bombs, and we went over there, and we, according to President Trump, and I have no reason to dispute this or doubt it, we destroyed, at that time, the nuclear capabilities of Iran. And they had some underground laboratories, some underground production facilities, underground centrifuges and whatnot necessary for the production of nuclear weapons, and obtaining nuclear-grade plutonium, and we, according to the reports we got, destroyed that. Immediately thereafter, a lot of concern was voiced by the government and a lot of attention given by Customs and Border Patrol to whether or not we had the potential for Iranian sleeper cells, Iranian terrorist groups, or even terrorist individuals here in the United States. And whether those folks had come into the United States, particularly during the 4 years of open borders that existed during the Biden administration, and whether that subjected the American public, the American infrastructure, the American government to an increased level of risk, given the fact that some significant number of illegal aliens, in fact, millions of illegal aliens in total, but some significant number of individuals from Iran had entered the country through the open borders that existed during the Biden administration. And so, looking at that, I decided to delve into that, see if I could get any specifics, see if I could come up with any numbers in terms of what we're talking about. And what's really interesting, because this was discussed quite a bit around the time of Operation Midnight Hammer, the bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities back in late June. And very soon after that operation, in fact, on June 24th, there was a report, and I found this in multiple places. In fact, I found it posted on the Homeland Security Administration's own website. And it says ICE arrests 11 Iranian nationals illegally in the U.S. over the weekend. And Homeland Security identified these individuals, including one guy, Rivvar Karimi, who was living in Alabama, had served as an Iranian army sniper and was in the U.S. illegally. And ICE and Customs and Border Patrol found this guy, chased him down, found that he was here illegally, and arrested him. And there were more, including multiple people. One guy, Bazad Najad, I'm going to pronounce as accurately as possible, was another Iranian found in the United States, here illegally, and at the time he was arrested was carrying a loaded 9mm pistol. Now listen, I'm the last person in the world who's going to attribute to someone, terroristic intent or criminal intent simply based on the fact they're carrying a gun. I carry a gun every day. I have no criminal intent whatsoever. I carry a gun for purely defensive purposes. And the fact that this guy is carrying a gun, just like a lot of other individuals in this country, doesn't necessarily mean anything. But the fact that he's an Iranian, 1, and 2, in the country illegally, and 3, carrying a firearm at the time, I think bears some increased scrutiny. And without any diminution in the respect for the Second Amendment. The guy's, first of all, not a citizen, here illegally, carrying a gun. And it goes on. And there's several other people that were found immediately after Operation Hammer. And this is a total of 11 people. But then what gets really interesting, if you continue to look, just a couple of days later, it was announced that ICE had arrested over 100 Iranian nationals who were in the United States illegally. And again, there was a heightened focus, heightened attention on this issue because of a concern about quote unquote sleeper cells that may exist here, constituted with Iranians who were sent here during the long existing conflict between the United States and Iran being, we know, one of the largest, if not the largest, state sponsor of terrorism, is going to revert to terroristic activities if, in fact, hostilities break out between Iran and the United States. And there have been hostilities, of course, for years. We bombed them last June, yes. But now we're engaged in a full-fledged ongoing conflict, ongoing military conflict that we'll see what Congress does or doesn't do, but kind of looks like a war. What's Iran's response likely to be? How do they respond? They are, by Middle Eastern standards, a very sophisticated military. This is not Iraq. This is a whole different universe. They got 3 times or 4 times the number of people, somewhere in there. They've got a much bigger military. They've got a much more sophisticated military. They've got a lot of hardware that where they've been assisted by other countries, presumably Russia and China or both. And they have a much more sophisticated military than we ever had to deal with Iraq. So Iran has a more significant military. At the same time, their ability to hit us here in the United States, they don't have, at least according to the reports I've seen, and it's one of the reasons that President Trump justified the attack on them just last night or this morning, was to prevent them from developing long-range missile capabilities, ballistic missile capabilities that would allow them to reach us here in the United States. So they don't currently, presumably, have that capacity here now. So if you're Iran, you're a major, if not the major, state sponsor of terrorism in the world. You've just been attacked by the United States, and you'd really like to strike back. Well, you can do what they're doing, of course, which is send missile strikes and or drone strikes against Middle Eastern U.S. facilities, as they've already done in Qatar, and apparently are attempting to do in Saudi Arabia and other Middle Eastern countries, attacking those bases. We saw them attack the headquarters of the Fifth Fleet located in Qatar, or in Bahrain, excuse me. Got my country's mixed up. That was in Bahrain. And a lot of us saw the images of smoke rising from the military base from the U.S. We had reports that there were 0 casualties from that. At the same time, you had on-the-ground reports that I saw a report that said a 20-story building had been demolished, had actually collapsed. Now, that's not those two things are not mutually exclusive. It could have been an empty building. But you can reach out if you're Iran and you've just been attacked by the United States and you want to strike back at the United States and you want to strike back at Israel. Well, Israel's reachable. We know that from all the rocket attacks, missile attacks we've seen in the past. We know that from the October 7th attack by Hamas, which was absolutely, no question, acting as an Iran proxy when they committed those atrocities and started the Gaza war. But if you're Iran, wouldn't you also like to reach out and touch America right here in the United States? If you don't have a missile that can reach the United States, you don't have a Navy that can come here and attack us, even reach us, much less attack us here in North America, what are your options? It seems to me one of those options is terrorism. And terrorism is absolutely a tool that Iran not only uses, but apparently is one of its favorite weapons to utilize against its enemies, and they've been doing that for quite some time. So, what is the likelihood we have Iranians here in the country, the United States, who were sent here, and who knows how many years ago we've had conflict going with Iran since 1979? And not to be melodramatic about it, but yes, a term that was coined during the Cold War with Russia is sleeper cell. What's a sleeper cell? Well, obviously, you send people in, they assume a normal lifestyle, they get normal jobs, they raise normal families, but in the meantime, they are really agents of a foreign country who are here to commit violent acts if and when they're ever activated by their handlers back in their home country. What is the likelihood that exists here in the United States? Well, a lot of that has to do with how many of those people total are even here. And listen, do I think a lot of Iranians have come to the United States because Iran sucks and it's terrible to live in Iran and it's an abusive culture, it's a totalitarian culture, and life in the United States is a hell of a lot better, and if you can get the hell out of Iran and get to the United States, that's a good thing to accomplish. And they want to come to the United States and assimilate into our culture and be great Americans and function in our society, contribute to our society, and be wonderful people. There's no doubt in my mind. And I'm not generalizing across the board. But depending on how many those people from Iran have come to the U.S., and particularly those people that came in illegally, and were never properly screened, particularly during the 4 years of the Biden administration, how many of those people didn't come here to assimilate into American culture? They came here to attack America. I do not know, but there are some interesting numbers that I'll go into after this break about the absolute numbers of people who are not only here in the United States, but here illegally and entered the country illegally, and notwithstanding the fact they entered the country illegally and were detained and were arrested by the Biden administration, were nonetheless released into the country with very minimal screening. These numbers get a little scary. That's what I'll talk about when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
As America celebrates 250 years, WIBC takes you inside the moments that built a nation.
The Spirit of 76. A 1-minute look at this day in the Revolution. The battles, debates, and turning points that transformed a collection of colonies into these United States.
Weekday mornings at 7:35 and 11:35, and afternoons at 3:35 and 6:35, or anytime on demand at WIBC.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up just a week from today. And we're almost sold out, but we have a few seats left. We'd love to see you there. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. It's going to be at Indy Arms. They're on the northeast side of Indianapolis. Nice, big, comfortable classroom. We'd love to see you there. It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. You can sign up right online. Just go to tactical-firearms.com, click on upcoming courses, and sign up for Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. Again, a detailed discussion of the law of self-defense, when you can lawfully and justifiably use force, including deadly force, in defense of yourself or other people, where you can and cannot legally carry a gun under both state and federal law, how to avoid commonly prosecuted crimes like criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon, intimidation with a deadly weapon, criminal recklessness with a deadly weapon. I defend all those cases, and a lot of folks who are prosecuted for those felonies never knew what they were doing at the time was illegal or allegedly illegal before they were arrested. Well, the time to figure out those laws is not after you've been arrested, after you're caught up in the criminal justice system. It's right now, if you're an Indiana gun owner. And that's why I put together Essentials of Indiana Gun Law. So again, go to tactical-firearms.com, click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
It's time. You've been putting off that kitchen or bath remodel long enough. What are you waiting for? Get started today with Boer Remodeling. Boer Remodeling customer Kathy had a bath remodel with Boer. Kathy, talk a little bit about your experience.
Our experience with Boer has been terrific. The process was so easy and seamless. When we decided to do a larger remodel of our first floor, Boer was the first company we thought of hiring.
And were you happy with the results?
The results are amazing, and we are so happy with our home and the work that Boer did.
Peter is another recent Boer Remodeling customer with a new kitchen. Peter, what was the best part about working with Boer?
We especially liked the active participation that we were able to have in selection of stone for the countertops. Really came out beautiful. The cabinets also came out very, very well.
The best materials, the most skilled craftsmen in Central Indiana. They'll guide you through the entire process. Start with a free consultation. Talk to Boer Remodeling today. That's BOOHER, BoerRemodeling.com.
Great Lakes Honda of Fishers is heating things up with red hot deals during Pay What We Pay invoice pricing going on now. Come into Great Lakes Honda and get invoice pricing without the gimmicks, like a new Honda Odyssey EXL for under $42,000 with a finance special of 3.99% APR for 48 months or 4.99% APR for 60 months. So come in out of the cold for red hot prices at Great Lakes Honda of Fishers. Tax not included. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. All fees and first payment due at signing. Offer ends March 31st. See dealer for details.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2025 Nielsen report.
We see it every day online, tragedy of some sort, and our kids see it too. This message is brought to you by the Indiana Youth Institute. Now more than ever, our youth need our support, even if they don't experience an event firsthand. Talking about what is going on can help them understand and feel safe. When talking to our youth about tragedy, use gentle words, offer comfort, and encourage them to share their worries. And remember, our youth could be experiencing fear, shock, anger, anxiety, and grief. These reactions are all normal, and their age will likely affect how they handle the stress. Be patient with support as your child grieves. However, if the child continues to display strong reaction for more than 2 to 4 weeks, they might need more help coping. This Kids Count Minute is a message from the Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, go to IYI.org/kids.
Kids count on you. Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
What you desire, don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com, and remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Indy Humane, committed to helping Central Indiana's pets in need since 1905. Find your new best friend today. IndyHumane.org. Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit IndyHumane.org.
No Kid Hungry is providing healthy meals and hope to hungry kids so they can build better futures. Learn more at helpnokidhungry.org.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us. I'm talking about the focus of Customs and Border Patrol, as well as ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Their focus on Iranians who were illegally in the country, and this was immediately after Operation Midnight Hammer. The United States bombed the nuclear production facilities in Iran at the time. This is last June. And it was interesting because I went back and looked. On June 24th, ICE announced that they'd arrested 11 Iranians who were in the country illegally. 2 days later, on the 26th of June, ICE announced they'd arrested over 130 additional Iranians who were in the country illegally. And this was specifically because they had a concern over sleeper cells of Iranian agents. Now, do I think all 130, 140 plus of these people arrested over these couple of days were here to participate in some kind of a terrorist sleeper cell? No, of course not. Do I think some of them might well have been? Yeah, just based on statistics and based on the fact that Iran is, again, a leading state sponsor of terrorism. And make no mistake, on October 7th, when Hamas attacked Israel, killed over 1,100 Israelis, in what was absolutely a terrorist attack. Make no mistake that Hamas was acting as a proxy for Iran. There's no question about that. Hamas is a proxy for Iran. Hezbollah is a proxy for Iran. And October 7th actually teaches us some lessons too. Now again, Hamas, they're in Gaza. I mean, they didn't have too far to go to get into Israeli territory. There were also over 1,000 rockets, missiles launched into Israel as part of the same attack. At the same time, I looked into this. This is really interesting to me. I found some reports I was interested in because Hamas is a proxy for Iran. And because the October 7th attacks into Israel, again, much different. I mean, Israel's right there. They could reach out and touch Israel. Much different than the United States, several more thousand miles away. Big difference. But I was still interested, how did the people who died, the over 1,100 Israelis that died that day on October 7th, now we're not even talking about the hostages, many of whom died in captivity, being held by Hamas. But of the people who died during the immediate attacks on October 7th, how did they die? In other words, by what weapon were they killed? Because a lot of rockets were fired. Now, Israel has their Golden Dome, I believe it's called. I just missed that. I may be thinking about Notre Dame football now that I think. They had Iron Dome. See? Screwed it up, but I recovered. The Iron Dome there in Israel, their missile defense system. And I'm sure they shot down most rockets, most missiles, most drones, but still some got through and some people were killed, no doubt. So I looked it up, and there was actually a report where they got into the specific statistics put out by IDF, the Israeli Defense Force, of how many people died and how they died. 90+% of the people who died in the October 7th attacks were killed by gunfire. So, okay, so here you have Hamas as an Iran proxy, murdering its enemies primarily with guys with guns. Interesting. Now you have the United States, located many more thousands of miles away across an entire ocean, plus, how would Iran like to reach out? What are they capable of reaching out and doing damage to us here at home? They can't reach us with a ballistic missile. They don't have that ballistic missile. According to all reports, one of the reasons that we're attacking them now is to prevent them from developing that capacity. Why not, particularly during 4 years of an open border under the Biden administration, sneak a whole bunch of Iranian agents, form sleeper cells right here in the United States, and when the time was right, when the time was necessary, when the time was fortuitous, or simply opportune for Iran to do as much damage here in the United States as possible, given the fact that there are a significant number of those people here. Then the question becomes how many? And of course, the answer is we don't know. We don't know because of the open borders that existed for 4 years in this country under the Biden administration. But here's some numbers we do have that I think are fascinating. ICE actually put some numbers out, along with Border Patrol. And of the number of people who were actually apprehended, now this doesn't include the people who slipped across the open border and were never caught. A whole different number. Who knows what that number is? I certainly don't. I don't think anybody does, in the government or otherwise. But from 2021 to 2024, under the Biden administration, do you know how many Iranians specifically? And who knows, we could broaden this out and talk about any number of other countries that we know that are sponsors of terrorism, but let's just keep it to Iran for now. Between 2021 and 2024, Border Patrol apprehended 1,504 Iranian nationals who illegally entered the United States. 1,504. That's the number of the ones they caught. And again, no idea how many they didn't catch. Well, you think, all right, well, Guy, why are you concerned about that? They were caught. I mean, we'd be concerned about that if they hadn't been caught. Well, here's why there's a concern. Because of those Iranians who were apprehended during the Biden administration, guess how many of that 1,504 were released into the United States, notwithstanding the fact they entered the country illegally? 729. Just shy of half. The Biden administration just looks at this and thinks, okay, here's a country. Now, again, I'm sure we have many Iranian immigrants into this country who have assimilated, are productive, are wonderful citizens who love America, and we're lucky to have them here. No doubt about it. At the same time, this is a country with which we've been in conflict for a really long time, again, since 1979, since the Islamic Revolution, under then Ayatollah Khomeini. This is Ruhollah Khomeini, different guy. A lot of guys, people, the name is so similar. A lot of guys, people think that the current, or now apparently deceased, Ayatollah in Iran, who's Ali Khamenei, a little different, spelled different, it's got at least one additional syllable on it. A lot of people think they're the same because they sound so similar, different people. Ruhollah Khomeini, 1979, led the revolution. That was the American embassy hostage crisis. 444 days held by Iranian terrorists, radical Islamic terrorists. We've been fighting these people since then. And when you have that much conflict with another country, when you knowingly let over 700 of these people into your country, does that create any potential security problems for you? Well, of course it does. And how many more people came into the country that were completely undetected? We don't know. And I'm not just wringing my hands and or waving my hands in the air and running around in circles around my chair in panic. That's not my point. My point is, are we currently at an increased risk for terrorist activity from those people, whoever they might be, including people who came here illegally from Iran, who are willing to attack this country because they are angry and vindictive over the fact that the United States and Israel just launched coordinated attacks on Iran? I have to believe there are some of those people there. There are some of those people here. Well, that's a problem, but I'm not just here to identify problems. There are also potential solutions. That's what we'll go into, or at least precautions, maybe a better word, and how all of us really ought to have our head on a swivel as much or more than usual, given this increased threat, I believe, exists in the United States, wherever you might be, because that's the whole idea of a sleeper cell. They're supposed to assimilate, at least superficially, across the communities. Get into the Midwest, get on both coasts, go north, go south, be wherever you might be, because when the alert comes that these people are activated, you want to be able to inflict as much harm, as much damage, as much death and mayhem as you possibly can, and it costs the broadest territory possible within the United States. And so how does that translate? We'll get into all of that, talk more about this, and take your calls. I haven't invited any calls yet. 317-239-9393. Give us a call. Join the discussion. Right now we're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
Be very wary of where you send your kids to high school and very wary of where you send your kids to college, especially your daughters. They're more susceptible to this outrage farming. They just are. The data is clear. And guys who don't find conservatives reaching out to them and saying to them, you're not crazy, they end up playing in Groyperville. That beta male cuck anti-Semite freak has nothing to offer you.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
I think we can all agree. Over the last few years, things have gotten weird.
Weird, confusing, and at times, pretty scary.
And for our kids, these things can be overwhelmingly stressful.
And can increase the risk for mental health problems as they grow.
But there's so much hope.
Scientific research and real-life experience
tell us that the #1 antidote to stress is authentic, trusted relationships.
So that's why I.
That's why we.
That's why I am committed to building and maintaining a trusted space.
For the students I influence every single day.
Until schools across the country
can proudly call ourselves a trusted space.
This is 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 a trusted space.
Access free films and resources to build trusted spaces in your schools and communities at atrustedspace.org.
Why? Why take a chance? Why risk a mistake? Why say something? We all have reasons why we choose to ignore the things that give us pause, that seem out of place, that don't feel right. The word why can either paralyze us or empower us to stand up and protect what we love. So if you see something, why do you say something?
I see safe for my family.
I see safe for my friends.
I see say for my students.
We see say for each other.
I see say because all of this matters.
We all have something worth protecting, a why that unifies this community we're all a part of. So protect your everyday. Report suspicious activity to local authorities. If you see something, say something.
News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump speaking with Minnesota leaders to try to put an end to the unrest in the state, deploying his border czar Tom Homan to lead ICE operations.
He will be reporting directly to the president. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bovino had been acting as the Border Patrol lead here, even hosting daily press conferences, really the face of the operation here. But Bovino is now returning to be sector chief in El Centro, California, and other Border Patrol agents are leaving as well.
Fox's Matt Finn, at least 34 people dead after that massive winter storm. It's still bringing bone-chilling temperatures nationwide. Fox Weather's Melanie Black in Boston, where almost 2 feet of snow fell.
And that snow is not going anywhere anytime soon. Our Fox Weather Forecast Center is calling for high temperatures in the 20s and overnight lows in the single digits this week.
America's listening to Fox News.
High five! Up top!
Dave's company just got the 5-year price lock guarantee from Comcast Business. Yeah! It's 5 years of gig speed internet, advanced security, and a great rate that won't change. All from the company with 99.9% network reliability.
Heck yeah!
He hasn't given this many high fives since Deborah brought in her famous banana bread.
Yes!
The Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee. Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities.
And it's hurting, but I am not stopping. Woo!
For a limited time, now through March 29th, switch to Comcast Business to lock in your rate for 5 years and get a $500 prepaid card on a qualifying gig bundle. Or ask how to get started with 300 megabit internet and Security Edge for $74 a month with a 2-year agreement. Call today. Restrictions apply. New customers only. 1-year contract required for guaranteed rate. Paperless billing and automatic payments with bank account required. 5-year pricing applies to monthly service charge excluding taxes and fees.
A house or business fire is something you never want to think of. But should it happen, think fast. Think Michaelis. Over 35 years of rebuilding lives and spirits at the same time. No one comes more respected or as fast. Trust the ones the insurance companies trust. Water, storms, fire, and wet basements. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Call 844-FIX-INDY. Make it Michaelis.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So, talking about the potential for terrorist acts here in the United States as a result of, or at least motivated by, the coordinated attacks by the United States and Israel against the Islamic Republic of Iran. And in trying to quantify that risk, of course, we can't do that with any certainty whatsoever because we had such open borders for 4 years. We don't know how many people came in that were totally undetected. But what we do know is that over 1,500 Iranians were actually caught entering the country illegally. And the Biden administration actually turned 729 of them loose into the country, notwithstanding the fact that they entered the country illegally. Mind-blowing. And I still, it's hard for me to wrap my head around because apparently Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and the Democrats in power for those years literally thought to themselves that whatever risk of allowing people into the country illegally, whatever the risk of terrorism, one, or other rampant crime committed by people who were not vetted, who are allowed into the country, whether murderers and rapists or potential terrorists, apparently whatever risk they posed was worth it because they'll probably vote Democrat and keep those people in office. Mind-boggling to me. We know that's the explanation. We know that was the motivation when President Trump at the State of the Union just last week, when he said, I want you to stand if you think the first priority of the United States government is to protect U.S. citizens and not illegal aliens, not illegals. And all the Democrats stayed seated. It's been talked about a lot. You don't need to hear about it again here on the Gun Guy Show. But what a brilliant move by Trump. The guy can be a serious knucklehead from time to time, but overall, he can also be a pretty damn good chess player. And to put them in that position where they couldn't stand and support him and therefore support ICE and therefore support the immigration policies of the Trump administration, they had to sit and admit that their first priority is not the safety of U.S. citizens. Where could that rubber hit the road? Where could that be more applicable, more realistic, more relevant than now looking at the potential terrorism risk associated with the number of Iranians who were intentionally released into the country by the Biden administration? And listen to these numbers. They went up every year. They went up every year. Now, did the Biden administration's policies get more permissive from year to year? Or were that many more Iranians trying to enter the country illegally every year? We don't know. But in 2021, 12 Iranian illegal border crossers were released into the U.S. 12. You're thinking, all right, well, that's significant. If one of them's a terrorist, that's a big deal. But 12 doesn't sound like a scary number. It went up to 40 in 2022. In 2023, it went up to 229. And in 2024, it went up to 448. We went from 12 in 2021 to 448. And what are we talking about? What's this number represent? This is the number each year of Iranians who entered this country illegally, who were caught by the Biden administration and nonetheless released into the country with, by all reports, extremely minimal vetting. It makes you wonder how bad the people had to be, the other half, 700 and whatnot, who were caught entering the country illegally as being Iranians and were not allowed into the country. How bad did they have to be? So there you go. You have that number of people were, I believe, at an increased risk of terrorism right here. We know one of the tools of terrorism that Iran and its proxies like to use is simply shooting people. That's what they did in Israel on October 7th. 90% of the people killed on October 7th were shot. Well, you come into the United States, you obtain firearms, you're part of a sleeper cell or just someone now motivated, being in the country illegally or legally, either one, you now are simply motivated to attack the United States because the United States and Israel just attacked your homeland. How could that look? And what we as citizens, particularly those of us, and obviously if you listen to the Gun Guy Show, you're likely one as well, those of us who have taken responsibility for the own safety and security of ourselves and our families. What does that mean to us? What should we be thinking about? How should we be motivated to be prepared for that? That's what we'll get into for the rest of the show, as well as take your calls. Right now, I'm way late going into this break. Let's take a break, come back for a very short segment, and wrap up hour number one of the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
When traffic's a bear, Matt Bear is a beast.
On the north side, 465 East is a parking lot for Meridian. Also, we have slow traffic from 82nd Street all the way up to 860.
When you need to get from here,
if you're coming in from Hamilton County, it's gonna be tight.
To there.
Bad news is 70 West is stopped near the Cloverdale exit.
Matt Bear, mornings and afternoons.
Good news is, Tony, they're gonna get to listen to your entire show this morning.
93 WIBC.
We are the National Park Foundation, and together with you, we're creating a future where every person, every generation, gets their chance at an unforgettable moment. Learn more at nationalparks.org/foundation.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Chase away those winter blues with a new car from Tom Roush Lincoln. Hurry in for the 8, 9, 10 deal from Tom Roush. Get $8,000 off new Nautilus or $9,000 off new Corsair. Or how about $10,000 off Lincoln Aviator? Come get a great deal on all three from Tom Roush, where our family served yours since 1972.
Corsair stock number L25566, MSRP 55340. Nautilus stock number L26030, MSRP 62705. Aviator stock number L25384, MSRP 79450. See dealer for complete offer details.
Hey John, why so glum? I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this. Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career. Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
You listen to WIBC. Now come work with us. We're looking for our next great sales assistant. If you're highly organized and ready to handle a fast-paced media environment, apply now at radio1.com/careers. Bilingual speakers preferred. Radio 1 is an equal opportunity employer.
Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So, terrorism, or just a mass shooting in general, for instance, are risks that we face here in the United States every day. Now, does that mean we're paranoid about it? Does that mean we lose sleep at night? Does that mean we walk around with our hands shaking? Of course not. And whether it's someone who's angry at the attack on Israel conducted by the United States and Israel here, attack on Iran, conducted by the United States and Israel here over the last 24 hours, or whether it's someone who's crazy, or whether it's someone who's otherwise a religious zealot, or whatever their motivation might be, are there things that we should all be doing and things we should be aware of, and are there little tweaks to the way we live our lives to make it a little more likely that we could survive such an event if, God forbid, one happens to unfold where we might be with our families or otherwise? Yeah, of course there are. There are things we should be talking about. And listen, do I think one of the forms of an act of terrorism by someone motivated by Israel and the United States attack on Iran, could that be a mass shooting? Yeah, absolutely. Again, October 7th, 90% of the people who died were shot. If Iran wants to reach out and hurt us here at home with a terroristic attack with guns, and if they could get their hands on explosives, I'm sure they'd love that too. But that involves them, in all likelihood, using firearms, not unlike a typical mass shooting anyway. Well, those are things we'll talk about, those things that we need to be prepared for. And there are, in fact, steps we can take in the event that situation unfolds. Right now, we're at the end of hour number 1. It's time to take a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Custom jewelry is not out of reach with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. At PA Jewelers, you can customize any piece of jewelry for that special someone. PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse in Brownsburg. Gold, diamonds, gemstones, and of course those watches from Flederman Von Riest, assembled right here in Indiana. Custom designed jewelry with PA Jewelers at the Farmhouse. Custom jewelry made just for you. PA Jewelers, 3750 South Green Street in Brownsburg. 317-456-4010. PAJewelers.jewelry.
Retirement, it's a little like marriage. We have no idea what we're getting into. Tune in to Fire Your Financial Advisor, Sunday mornings at 7 on WIBC.
Call the only local Indianapolis real estate agent I trust and recommend, and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. His name is Mark Dietel. Mark Dietel and his team work quick, they work efficient, and they are very successful. Like Sharon in Greenwood, here's what she had to say. I moved into my new home, and I needed a smooth sale of my old place ASAP. Mark Dietel's team prepped my home quickly and launched an aggressive marketing plan. Success. It sold over asking in just 10 days while making everything simple and stress-free for me. That's from Sharon in Greenwood.
Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. That's right, he will buy it. You pick the move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietel today, 317-755-4232, or visit markdietel.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
We had downsized. In that downsizing, my husband lost his man cave.
Everyone is talking about Galaxy Concrete Coatings and their transformation, like your neighbor Deb.
My husband and I were at the home show and saw all these vendors with garage floor coatings. The one that stayed with us was Galaxy.
Galaxy Concrete Coatings is 4 times stronger than epoxy.
I'm the only one home, and so it's nice when well-dressed, clean-cut, respectful crew show up. That's what Galaxy sent.
Commercial or residential, Galaxy transforms pools, patios, garage floors, and driveways in as little as 1 day, and it comes with a lifetime warranty.
Warranties are real important for us, and to know that should there be an issue, Galaxy was standing behind it. That's pretty much what tipped us over to go with Galaxy.
Click on GalaxyConcreteCoatings.com and remember to like us on Facebook.
We are so proud to open our garage store.
We're out of this world.
At Advent, nasal congestion and sinus infections can be solved with an in-office 20-minute procedure. Elsewhere, expect surgery.
Find the path to recovery that works for you. Learn more at cdc.gov/stopoverdose.
From the Dugan Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, this is 93 WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
And follow now at FoxNewsRundown.com or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.
This is a Fox News Alert. We're following a breaking story. For the latest, let's go to the Fox News channel for an update.
We are facing an act of aggression, and obviously we have every right to defend ourselves.
We've been hit. We've been hit.
Good evening. I'm Brett Baer. The U.S. and Israel have effectively decapitated the leadership of the Islamic Republic of Iran. President Trump and Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu confirm reports Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei is dead. He was killed during daylight Saturday morning Iran time in a massive targeted strike. Earlier today, President Trump called on Iranians to, quote, seize control of your destiny. It is the second time in 8 months that the U.S. has used military force against Iran. The Islamic Republic calls it a war of choice by the U.S. and retaliated today by firing missiles and drones toward Israel and U.S. bases in the region and civilian targets inside its Gulf Arab neighbors. We have global team coverage tonight. Bill Melugin in Washington on what Congress is saying about the strikes and what steps are next there. Mark Meredith also in Washington breaking down what happened and when. Peter Doocy gives us the take from the White House, plus Jillian Turner at the State Department with how all of this affects Americans in the region. But we begin with Chief Foreign Correspondent Trey Yingst in Tel Aviv, where air raid sirens have been sounding all day and night as Iran sends missiles toward its most hated enemy. Good evening, Trey.
Yeah, Brett, good evening. The Iranians immediately responding following the news that their supreme leader, the Ayatollah Khamenei, was killed in Israeli strikes early today. We are also getting new information from a senior Israeli security source who tells Fox News exclusively that more than 40 senior Iranian security and regime officials were killed in a series of strikes that all took place during the opening barrage this morning, targeting the capital of Tehran. Again, the Iranians have responded.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Monitoring an ongoing situation. I'm Jarrett Lewis. Here's what's trending this hour. Hoosier politicians reacting to the U.S.-Israeli attack on Iran from Saturday. Iran has since launched airstrikes on Israel in retaliation. Democratic Congressman Andre Carson said President Trump continues to put our troops and civilians in danger. Republican Rodi Yakum asked that God be with our troops, allies, and the Iranian people during this time. He believes this operation can bring real peace to the region. President Trump has called for regime change after a reported breakdown in nuclear negotiations with Iran. A colder weekend with temperatures dipping to 30 and a chance of snow Sunday night. And then after that,
maybe near 30 or near freezing early Monday morning. Temperatures will rebound up to around 40 there by the middle of the day, and maybe any lingering snow might change back to some light rain or sprinkles.
Forecaster Alexander McGinnis from the National Weather Service in Indianapolis says it'll get warmer as the week continues, with temperatures hovering around the mid-50s and more chances of rain. In August of 2024, Fort Wayne police say they found a man near a park with multiple gunshot wounds. Trayvon Holman later died at the hospital. Dana Minis Jr. was arrested and charged with felony murder and robbery for that fatal shooting from 2 years ago. He's getting 62 years in prison. And the 2026 IndyCar season getting underway Sunday. Teams are in St. Petersburg going after Alex Palou, the reigning Indy 500 winner and champion of the series the past 3 seasons.
2025 was so magical in a way for the 10 car that everybody understands that it's very hard to get there.
The green flag waves around 12:30 Eastern time. I'm Jarrett Lewis on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Here's the forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Going into Sunday, partly cloudy skies to start, mostly cloudy skies to finish. Temperatures a bit cooler with a high near 40 degrees. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, ETHOS, ethos.com/Mike.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
Opioid pain medication took everything that I had. Nothing mattered more than getting my fix. I was on the verge of being homeless. My house was being foreclosed on. Knowing that it could have been prevented makes it worse. It just takes one.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
For 22 years, Exercise Inc. has helped Hoosiers build muscle, lose weight, and transform their health, creating lifelong habits. Only takes 20 minutes once a week. Visit exerciseinc.com.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment. And this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. And we're talking about the events in Iran. Obviously have the nation's attention, as they should. Certainly had my attention since very early this morning. And I was really proud of WIBC. You know, they stuck with Fox News in their broadcast for most of the day, really right up until my show. And I wouldn't have been insulted at all if the station decided to stick with Fox News, just because people are so closely following those events. And I'm one of those people doing so. But as I talked about in the first hour, one of my first thoughts is, what does this really mean for here at home? And is there an increased risk to those of us here because Iran may be motivated now, or those people in the United States who have sympathies or allegiances to Iran to want to commit terrorist acts here? I think the answer to that has to be yes. And whatever level of risk there was before yesterday of that happening, I think it's got to be some percentage worse today. Now, again, that doesn't make me just sit around and wring my hands or run around waving my hands in the air saying the sky is falling. It just, to me, makes me want to think about how to be best prepared and how to have thought through some potential events beforehand to put me and my family in the best situation possible were those very unfortunate events to unfold. And listen, this isn't any different really than what we live through every day as Americans with, yes, there are mass shooters out there. There are crazy people. I talked a lot just last week about the fact that there are people motivated to hurt us simply because they have mental issues. They are struggling with mental illness, or they're motivated by other factors, but there are folks who, yes, will show up at a school and want to murder everybody there. Yes, there are people who will show up to a church and want to murder everyone there. There are people who will show up to a shopping mall and want to murder everyone there. I think we are at some incrementally greater risk today because of the events in Iran, particularly given the huge numbers of Iranians who were allowed to enter this country illegally by the Biden administration. Half of those caught at the border from Iran entering this country illegally were allowed to come on in. Like Joe Biden being Bob Barker on Price is Right. Come on down. Come right on into the United States. Not a problem. Are any of those people terrorists? I don't know. But I think there's some incremental risk there. So, like anything else, it's just a matter to me of being prepared. And part of that is, and by the way, other than taking some actions to be prepared and having the resources available to me to at least optimize, no, there are no guarantees. I'm in most situations, I'm one guy and just trying to do the best I can to protect myself and my family. There are no guarantees there. There was a guy carrying a gun at the Greenwood Park Mall in 2022 who was simply walking out of the restroom, was looking at his phone, walking out of the restroom, walking into the restroom at Greenwood Park Mall as a mass shooter was walking out of the restroom with an AR-15 in his hands. Guy was carrying a gun, was looking at his phone, looked up, saw the muzzle of an AR-15 and was shot immediately. Never had a chance to reach for his gun. Is carrying a gun some kind of superpower that makes you immune from being injured? Of course not. Not even close. None of us think that. At the same time, does carrying a gun optimize your ability or at least improve your chances of surviving a deadly encounter? Well, Eli Dicken in the Greenwood Park Mall won the gunfight. Bad guy down, Eli survives. Countless people in the Greenwood Park Mall survived as well because Eli was prepared and equipped and had the mindset to engage that shooter and end the threat. That to me is a big part of it. Another part of it, given what we're talking about here, is think like a mass shooter. Think like a terrorist. What does that mean? Well, if I'm either say you're a crazy, deranged mass shooter, like the guy in the Greenwood Park Mall, or I'm religiously motivated, or I'm politically motivated because the United States just attacked my home country. And I decide I'm going to inflict maximum damage on the country I'm now in because I'm here illegally. I'm from Iran, for instance, and I'm decided, whether it's under instructions from some handler back in Iran because I was sent here on that mission to begin with, or I'm just suddenly motivated because this country attacked my home country, Iran. And now I want to inflict maximum damage on the people here in the United States. What are my options? What is the best way for me to do that? Now, you can do something pretty sophisticated and try to affect the water supply, try to blow up an oil refinery, try to affect the electrical grid. There are any numbers of things that an individual can potentially do that can have devastating effects. But in terms of what most people have the capacity to do, most people have the opportunity to do, going to some public place where there are a lot of people and shooting as many of them as possible is probably one of the most realistic things they can pursue. So when I said think like a terrorist or think like a mass shooter, what am I talking about? Well, where are those places likely to be attacked by someone motivated to inflict harm on us here in America because they're pissed off about the Iranian conflict that's unfolding as we speak? Well, those places where there are a lot of people. Are those shopping malls? Yes. Are sporting events? Sure. You may be upset because you practice a different religion than the majority of people here in the United States. So you would just as soon, if you're going to shoot as many people as possible, go where people are practicing that religion that you're fundamentally opposed to. Church, and I've thought this for years. My wife and I have talked a lot about it. You know, I am hyper aware when we go to church. We go to church at every time we possibly can. Not quite every Sunday. We have a disabled daughter that sometimes is a little tough to get there, but we do go whenever we can. And whenever we go, which is every opportunity, I'm hyper aware. We sit specifically in a location where I can see the comings and goings of people in the sanctuary and where I have good shooting angles and where I think I have the best possible chance of helping my family survive and get the hell out of there. And if necessary, neutralize the threat based on the infrastructure of that particular church. And that's not paranoid. That's not living in fear. We get accused of that all the time as gun owners. It's just the opposite. I'm not sitting there wringing my hands afraid. I'm sitting there thinking, here's what I'm going to do if this happens. Here's what I'm going to do if that happens. We've researched where all the exits are. We've looked at where a bad guy's likely to come in. We've looked at where the safest shooting angles are to end a threat and not endanger other people who are there to worship God with us. That's just a mindset. That's what a lot of us do. A lot of us do every day. Where do you sit in the restaurant? Do you find all the exits available to you when you're in a particular location? Are you watching the circumstances around you? Are you prepared, equipped, and do you have the mindset to engage a threat if one unfolds? Those are things to think about. Those are things to equip yourself for. There are things to train to do long before they ever unfold. That's true every day. Is there some increased urgency or need today? I think so. And that's not being paranoid. That's just recognizing a political reality. We'll talk more about that. If you want to give us a call, join the discussion, please do. 317-239-9393. We're at the quarter hour. We'll take a break. We'll come back and continue the discussion here on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
First it was Hillary, Bill Clinton's next.
93 WIBC.
Former president will be questioned today under oath about the Jeffrey Epstein sex trafficking investigation.
What happens next?
Clinton's appearance could compel the committee to call Trump.
Happens here.
In the latest round of U.S.-Iran talks.
Very seriously entered into the elements of a possible agreement.
Stay in the know.
Another conflict flares up between Pakistan and Afghanistan.
While you're on the go.
Pakistan now considers the conflict open war.
On air, online, and on Alexa.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up just a week from today on March 7th. We'd love to see you there. This is 5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. You can sign up right online at tactical-firearms.com It's $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. Again, you can sign up right online. Go to tactical-firearms.com. Click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
When Dugan Air began servicing Johnson, Shelby, Bartholomew, Brown, Morgan, and Marion County over 17 years ago, they focused on a great customer experience. That has grown into the Dugan difference. Dugan is always looking to go above and beyond for their customers, consistently giving top-notch service every time. You will be taken care of. Dugan Air is your American Standard Mitsubishi Electric Elite Ductless Pro dealer. Go DuganAir.com. Go DuganAir.com. Dugan Air.
Premium service, no shenanigans.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
What if you could have the most reliable fiber-powered Wi-Fi?
And get this, what if you could keep it at the same price for 5 years? That's the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to the devices that need them most, that finds and fixes problems before you even notice them, like super intelligent Wi-Fi with a 6th sense, and that keeps you gaming in the fast lane, even when the whole family is banking on bandwidth. All your devices working in perfect harmony for 5 whole years. And here's the best part. No annual contracts, no hidden fees, and our best equipment included.
Plus, get online in no time with same-day Wi-Fi.
Hey, let's face it, a lot can change in 5 years. Kids grow taller, dreams grow bigger, but your Wi-Fi, it would stay reliable and the price would stay put. The Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity, imagine that.
Select plans only. Restrictions apply. Most reliable Wi-Fi based on Open Signal Awards USA Fixed Broadband Experience Report, May 2025. Actual speeds vary. Xfinity Internet powered by fiber and connected to the premises by coaxial cable.
My name is Jamie Bowles, and I was diagnosed with non-small cell lung cancer in December of 2018. Nobody would even know looking at me that I have stage 4 lung cancer, and I'm grateful for biomarker testing for that. When I was sitting down with my oncologist, there was already state-of-the-art medication available that I was going to be put on right then and there. Ask your doctor how comprehensive biomarker testing before treatment may help you decide on the best treatment. Visit NoOneMissed.org to learn more.
A public service message from Longevity Foundation.
We're all different. 1 in 5 of us live with a mental illness. Don't filter who you are. Talk to someone you trust. Learn more at bringchangetomind.org. Through their service, veterans have our backs. Now we should have theirs. Learn more at gotyoursix.org. Indy Humane. Find your new best friend today. Visit indyhumane.org.
Now you got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And we're talking about some incremental increased risk of terrorism here in the United States, given the events going on right now in Iran. And whatever that incremental risk might be, whatever that elevated risk might be beyond what it was baseline, I couldn't tell you certainly. But I think there's certainly an increased risk. And that being so, what does that really mean for those of us who are just intent on going on, living our lives, doing our jobs, loving our families, and doing what we do every day. Well, I think there's a number of elements to this. And none of this changes because of the events going on right now in Iran, except perhaps add some level of urgency to it. Urgency may not even be the right word. It may increase the likelihood to some degree, whatever that degree might be. It might be 1%, might be 10%, might be 50%. I couldn't quantify that for you, but I can tell you there's some increased level of risk. So what does that mean? Does that mean we, again, live our lives in fear? No, of course not. Just the opposite. It means we think a little bit about preparation. What do I mean by preparation? Well, one is simply developing the mindset necessary. To one, I'm going to avoid the risks I possibly can. I do not have a hero complex. I do not carry a gun because I have some desire to jump into a situation that I'm not already involved in so as to be a hero. I would like to think that I would put myself in harm's way to protect innocent others around me, just as we've seen heroic people do, like my friend and client Eli Dicken in the Greenwood Park Mall that I mentioned earlier. But that's not why I carry a gun. I carry a gun as a tool of last resort to protect myself and the people that I love primarily, and also in other innocent people around me if the necessity arises. I don't do it to win arguments. I don't do it to be a tough guy. I don't do it to intimidate. None of that. I do it as a tool of last resort to protect innocent life, including my own and my family's primarily. So, okay, well, carrying a gun is part of it. Is that all of it? Well, of course not. A lot of it's thinking ahead. A lot of it's having that mindset to be prepared, to be certainly spending some time and attention surveying the circumstances around you, what we call situational awareness. And listen, I've gone through a lot of great training around the country. It was some of the best training I did many, many years ago with Gunsight. And my friend Ken Campbell, former Boone County Sheriff, now the CEO of Gunsight, one of the premier firearms training facilities in the world, certainly for civilians, I think best in the world that I'm aware of. They're out in Paulden, Arizona, but the founder of Gunsight, Colonel Jeff Cooper, developed the color code system when we talk about situational awareness. And he talked about how at any given point in time, you're in some kind of a condition. That is the condition of how much you're paying attention to your surroundings and your circumstances, how aware of the situation you're in you are. Again, where the term situational awareness came from. And there's condition white. What's condition white? Well, that's where you're just oblivious. You got your face buried in your phone. You're arguing with your significant other. You're staring at the pretty lady walking by in a short skirt. Whatever it is, you're oblivious. You're not paying attention. You have no idea going on around you. Someone could walk up in front of you, straight to your face, and swing an axe at you, and you're not even going to notice until the blade hits you. You're oblivious, condition white. And part of the goal of anybody who is trying to optimize their chances of survival as well as their family's survival, not just survival, but safety in general, is to avoid ever being in condition oblivious, condition white. And then you go to condition yellow. What's condition yellow? It's just paying attention. It's just being aware of the circumstances around you. If you're taking the trash out at 11 o'clock at night because the trash guy's coming early the next morning, are you looking around? Are you paying attention? Or you got your head down thinking about how cold it is because you walked outside and nothing but your robe, take the trash out. Are you just simply looking around? Are you paying attention? And then paying attention, generally considered condition yellow. And by the way, you see different versions of this and what people call orange versus yellow and whatnot. But the point is that you always try to maintain at least a level of awareness where you're paying attention to your circumstances. Does that awareness of your circumstances and your surroundings need to be influenced by where you are at the time? You know what? If I'm behind locked doors with a dog at my side and a gun on the nightstand and a security system in my house, then and listen, you got to sleep sometime, right? Ultimate example of condition white. Are you oblivious? Well, yeah, you're asleep. Should you have thought about and prepared in some way to be able to get broken out of condition white and be aware of a potential risk when it unfolds? Well, yeah. And that's when alarms come in and the trusty four-legged friend that sleeps next to the bed. It can help a lot in that circumstance. Of course, locking the door to where somebody's got to make some noise to get in. Yeah, you want to break yourself out of that oblivious state as soon as possible, and you've given some thought to that. You're prepared for that. But then the next level above, simply paying attention. A lot of people call situation yellow. Some people call it orange. Is where you've identified a potential threat. You're walking down the street. There are 3 people walking towards you that just don't look right. They look like there could be, kids out looking for trouble, look like a potential mugger, someone who's paying a little bit too much attention to you, someone who's not dressed appropriately given the weather and the circumstances. Whatever it might be, there's someone that you're just keeping an eye on to think, you know what, that doesn't look right to me. And trust your spidey senses on that, man. Trust your gut feelings. Trust your intuitions on this. It doesn't mean you start shooting. It doesn't mean you pull your gun. It doesn't mean you do anything extreme. It just means you're paying extra attention and you start developing a plan. For instance, those 3 people walking towards you that just don't look quite right, who may be paying a little bit too much attention to you, does it make sense to just cross the street? Does it make sense to just walk on in the building that you happen to be past and walk into the business? You know what? Might be a good time to step in here and buy a Diet Coke. At the same time, you start developing a plan. If they do this, I'm going to do that. Someone's walking at you, staring at you, muttering something incomprehensible, and you can't see their hands. All right. I have no opportunity to cross the street or walk into a business or whatever it might be. So what am I going to do? I'm going to start developing a plan. I see a weapon manifest itself. All right. Now I'm going to pull my weapon and act accordingly. You start developing a plan, a contingency plan. If this, then that. If they do this, I'm doing that. And then condition red is where the threat materializes. It's real. It's going down. The balloon has gone up. Now I'm going to do what I decided I was going to do while I was developing my plan. Does that mean pulling my guns? Does that mean taking a shot? Depending on the circumstances, what's legal under the circumstances, what's justified, what's necessary. Of course, that's exactly what it means. And that level of awareness, that level of that situational awareness that you're in, should that change based on where you are? Of course it should. Of course, 100%. You're at church. I think that takes a heightened level of awareness to be at church. Why? Because churches are targets. You're at the mall. Yes, absolutely. There are street criminals that commit crimes at malls. There are gang members that commit crimes at malls. And if you're a bad guy and a terrorist or just a crazy person looking to commit a mass shooting, a mall's a place to do it. Why do we know that? Because it's happened, and it's happened repeatedly. You're in any place where large groups of people are gathering. Does it make sense to elevate your level of situational awareness? Of course it does. Should you be prepared for that? Yes. Do I like to go where there are large groups of people and I'm not able to carry my firearm? Oh, hell no. Doesn't mean I think I'm invincible because I'm carrying my guns. Wherever I might be, I'm in a movie theater. I'm carrying my gun, and 6 guys walk in with AK-47s. Am I going to say, well, I've trained for this all my life. I'm going to stand up and blow these 6 guys away with my handgun? No, of course not. Just because you're a hammer doesn't mean everything's a nail. No, it's get out of Dodge, get on the ground, get to an exit. Why having identified that exit beforehand makes all the sense in the world. You win every gunfight, or I'll rephrase that. You survive every gunfight that you don't participate in. You survive every gunfight that you don't participate in. No shame in that if the odds are against you. If you have no legitimate means or likelihood of prevailing, then don't participate. Get out of Dodge. Exit stage left. But having thought about that, having identified the exits, having talked to your family about that, not in an alarmist way. You're not worried. You're not scared. You're not even concerned. You're just aware. You're prepared. You're developed that mindset. Beyond mindset, beyond things like simply carrying a gun. Do I carry a spare magazine? Yes. We'll talk a little bit about that actually when we come back. I think there are some myths out there, or some things that are quote-unquote conventional wisdom on that point. I'd like to address. I don't think I've ever talked about this here on the Gun Guy Show. We will do that, in fact, when we come back. Right now, we're at the bottom of the hour. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
3,364 children found by ICE.
Don't forget, lost under Biden and cartels enabled with his open border policies.
The wine moms meetings in Westfield, they're not going to talk about this. 3,364. If my tax dollars are going to be spent, I'm fine with that.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Have you been dreaming of kitchen updates since the new year began? My friends at Hope Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling want you to love your plumbing. Update your faucets, fixtures, water heaters, and more with $100 off a $500 plus plumbing service. Make your remodel dreams or small home update wishes come true and start to love your plumbing again. Call and schedule an appointment today at 317-641-HOPE or visit them online at hopeplumbing.com.
A $200 million buyback in mortgage securities plus a new rate-friendly Fed chair is coming this spring. These moves are intended to push mortgage rates lower. The last time rates dropped, we saw a selling and buying frenzy. Now is the time to prepare to sell your home. It's time to call the expert, Mark Dietel. Maybe you need to sell now. Maybe you need to maximize price, buying or selling fast, or maximum cash. Mark Dietel has the proven plan to sell your home based on your needs, guaranteed. Mark Dietel is the only real estate expert trusted and recommended with the sale of your home. Mark Dietel guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You just pick your move date. No long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Angie in Fairland said, I was handling my mother's estate and needed to sell the home I grew up in. It was emotional for me, but the Dietel team handled the listing and repairs, secured a buyer, and sold the home after just 9 days on the market stress-free. Mark Dietel and his team made a challenging situation simple and successful. Call the local Indianapolis agent, trusted and recommended, the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietel, 317-755-4232. Get all the details, or go online to markdietel.com. That's Mark Dietel, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietel.com.
This month, Pure Talk is honoring Jackson and Lincoln by offering unlimited talk, text, and plenty of data for just $25 a month. Meanwhile, Big Wireless is honoring Ben Franklin by charging families hundreds of dollars for the same 5G coverage. What? Franklin wasn't even a president. Hang on to those Benjamins. Dial pound 250, say Micro, and save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250, Micro, to switch to an American wireless company that's truly unprecedented. Pure Talk.
Fox News, I'm Gianna Gelosi. President Trump speaking with Minnesota leaders to try to put an end to the unrest in the state, deploying his border czar Tom Homan to lead ICE operations.
He will be reporting directly to the president. Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino had been acting as the Border Patrol lead here, even hosting daily press conferences, really the face of the operation here. But Bavino is now returning to be sector chief in El Centro, California, and other Border Patrol agents are leaving as well.
Fox's Matt Finn, at least 34 people dead after that massive winter storm. It's still bringing bone-chilling temperatures nationwide. Fox Weather's Melanie Black in Boston, where almost 2 feet of snow fell.
And that snow is not going anywhere anytime soon. Our Fox Weather Forecast Center is calling for high temperatures in the 20s and overnight lows in the single digits this week.
America's listening to Fox News.
At Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, we do plumbing. Water heaters, leaky faucets or toilets, sump pumps, drain lines. Howald plumbers keep water flowing. Howald Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, where coming home never felt so good.
Pat Sullivan here. Fire emergency? I've had one. If you do, call Michaelis. Owner Richard Michaelis explains why.
Michaelis is local and family owned. 39 years of experience with 24/7, 365 response. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified, restoring your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
And Michaelis helps you through the insurance process, giving you peace of mind. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
February is the month of love, so maybe it's time to show your carpet a little attention. Your carpet is the biggest air filter in your home, and if it hasn't been professionally cleaned, you're breathing dirt, dust, and winter buildup every single day. That's why I call Zero-Res. No soaps, no residue, just a deeper clean that keeps your home fresher longer. Right now, get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $119 plus $75 off air duct cleaning. Book online at ZeroResIndy.com. Ask for the WIBC special.
Great Lakes Honda of Fishers is heating things up with red hot deals during Pay What We Pay invoice pricing going on now. Come into Great Lakes Honda and get invoice pricing without the gimmicks, like a new Honda Odyssey EXL for under $42,000 with a finance special of 3.99% APR for 48 months or 4.99% APR for 60 months. So come in out of the cold for red hot prices at Great Lakes Honda of Fishers. Tax not included. In-stock new Hondas only. Not combinable with other offers. All fees and first payment due at signing. Offer ends March 31st. See dealer for details.
Being blind doesn't look how others may think.
Retinitis pigmentosa aimed to overwhelm my family.
It tried to cut me down. I know where to find support.
Donate today at fightingblindness.org.
A public service message from the Foundation Fighting Blindness.
Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. So, you're developing the mindset, or you have the mindset, be able to defend yourself and your family, particularly in these times of perhaps some increased level of threat, but you never know. I mean, you never know when those things are going to unfold. I mean, I always completely laugh. You know, those people who don't support Second Amendment rights, or they feel no need to exercise their Second Amendment rights. And there are a lot of those people out there. And hey, I respect everybody's decision. I don't try to force gun ownership or carrying a gun, possessing a gun on anybody. Everybody gets to make their own decision. That's what makes this a great country. But those people say, you know what, if you're going to a bunch of places where guns are necessary, you must be going to the wrong places. Or people say, I see this on social media all the time, or I see people in the media saying this. Well, I don't go anywhere where I would ever need a gun. And because I don't go to those places, then by definition, I don't need to worry about having the capacity to defend myself. And all you paranoid people walking around with guns are just nuts, or you're going to dangerous places where you should never go to begin with. And I laugh out loud at that and say, hold on, look where mass shootings have occurred. Movie theaters? You go to a nice suburban movie theater. Are you thinking, well, this is a place I better carry my gun? Well, yeah, I do. Yes. Why? Because movie theaters are potential targets. It's where a bunch of people are all in one place. You want to walk in and murder a bunch of people all together at the same time. You want to get where people are massed together. Is a movie theater one of those places? Yes. Is church one of those places? I don't go anywhere where I would need to carry a gun. Church? Go to church? Now, do 99.999% of people go to church and they're 100% safe and they have a great time and they worship God and with and they sing God's praises and they celebrate their faith? Yes, of course. But you're also naive if you don't think that that place is a potential target simply because of how you worship or who you worship or where you happen to be worshiping. And so I don't have a crystal ball that tells me when I might need to defend myself. And you don't need to be walking down a dark alley in a bad part of town to be in a place where you might need to have the capacity to defend yourself. Eli Dickin in the Greenwood Park Mall having a dinner with his girlfriend in the food court did not think of the Greenwood Park Mall as a place where he was necessarily going to have to defend himself, but that's where evil chose to rear its ugly head. That's what happens. That's not paranoid. You're not living your life in fear. To recognize that as a simple truth. Simple, unavoidable, indisputable truth. That's what happens. And people are gunned down and shot in churches and malls and movie theaters and places where you ought to and have every right to feel safe, and generally are always going to be, but the exceptions occur. And that's what a lot of us want to prepare for, not just with the equipment that we carry every day, but with our mindset. And listen, a lot of folks out there have again, this is where I was talking about conventional wisdom a little bit. Folks will tell you about the rule of threes. You ever heard this one? And listen, I've discussed this a lot, and there can be and is some truth to it, but people, I think, use it a little bit too much in lockstep and believe that it doesn't have the number of exceptions that it does. But the rule of threes goes something like this, that virtually every self-defense shooting happens in 3 feet or less, happens in 3 seconds or less, and involves 3 or less shots. And there certainly are some data out there to support that idea, but most of that data comes from police action shootings. In fact, that's where a lot of this came from. From the police and their use of deadly force in a defensive shooting. And listen, do I think the majority of self-defense shootings fall within that category? Yeah. I saw one study done where they looked at the self-defense shootings that were being reported in the armed citizen pages of the NRA magazine, the First Freedom. And if you're a member of NRA, if you get that magazine, on the first couple of pages, there's always it's called the Armed Citizen, and there would be various anecdotes of people using their gun in self-defense. And some researcher, it's kind of a cool idea, went and compiled as many of those as they could, and then they researched them. They went back and found as much information as they could, whether it's from news reports or police reports, or they got whatever additional information they could to get the kind of specifics that would allow us to draw some conclusions about self-defense shootings. And they got those from the incidents described in the Armed Citizen pages of the NRA magazine. And I think that's where NRA gets those too. They just get them from news reports. But they did as much follow-up as they could, and they said, hey, it supports the idea of the rule of threes. In fact, it was the most common distance for a self-defense shooting was something like just beyond arm's reach. The average number of shots was something like 1.7. It was less than 2. And which supports the idea that it's over very quickly. But at the same time, a lot of that data also comes from police action shootings. And there's a fundamental difference, I think, in the shootings that the police are involved in, or at least there's a significant difference in the shootings that police are involved in and the police that private citizens are involved in. First of all, police, it certainly happens that a police officer is by himself or herself when they have the need and the justification to use deadly force. But an awful lot of times there's more than one officer involved. Only one officer may pull the trigger, but there's more than one officer involved. And an officer's job is also to be out looking for threats, for actively engaging threats. A lot of times when you're a private citizen, it's the threat coming after you. And when that's the situation, when you're the perceived prey rather than the predator, a lot of times you've got more than one bad guy, as opposed to more than one police officer trying to apprehend one particular bad guy. So I'm at home and I have a home invasion. Well, there's a reason they call them home invasions, because they don't happen with just one bad guy. A guy breaking in, that is certainly a break-in. I wouldn't necessarily call it a home invasion, because the term connotes the idea that there are multiple people who are invading your home. Am I going to use only 3 shots in that circumstance? I'd like to think, yeah, boom, 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 3 bad guys, 3 shots, threat's over. Reality doesn't work that way. First of all, depending on the firearm that you're using. Now, I have a suppressed AR SBR next to my bed. That's what my gun of choice in my home. It's a short-barreled rifle. It's suppressed, and I have more capacity. It's suppressed so I don't lose what little hearing I have left by defending myself in my home and inside, indoors, with a rifle. But in a lot of circumstances out in public, you're dealing with handguns. Handguns are notoriously bad fight stoppers. You get the keyboard Rambos out there that, you know, all over the social media pages saying, well, if you need more than 6 shots to handle a threat, then you just need more time at the range. No, it's not the way that works. One of the greatest examples of marksmanship, I'll go back to Eli Dicken in the Greenwood Park Mall. One of the greatest examples of marksmanship in a civilian self-defense shooting, in this case, the defense of third persons, other people in the mall, it was Eli in the Greenwood Park Mall. He engaged that threat from 43 yards away. Why? Because it was necessary for him to do so. The bad guy was murdering people. He had just shot and killed 3 people. When Eli engaged the threat, he put himself in harm's way. He engaged the threat starting from 43 yards away. He took 4 shots from 43 yards away. He hit 2 of those shots. Under those circumstances, with screaming bystanders running past your sight picture, having to actually stop and pause and raise your muzzle to let screaming people run by, from 43 yards away at a moving target, shooting people with an AR-15 to hit 2 out of 4 from 43 yards, damn fine. But that didn't end the threat. See, handguns are notoriously bad fight stoppers. People have this idea, I don't know, it's from the movies. I don't know whether it's just a misunderstanding of ballistics. I'm not sure where it gets. But, you know, people say, oh, 1 shot, 1 kill. Well, a high velocity rifle, yeah, you can, if you with marksmanship, you ought to be able to rely on 1 shot, 1 kill. That doesn't necessarily happen in self-defense scenarios because handguns in particular are bad fight stoppers. Eli hit the guy twice from 43 yards away. That did not end the fight. Eli closed to about 25 yards, and from a standing position, then took 4 more shots, hit the guy 4 times. Bad guy still moving. Bad guy still has a rifle in his hands. He's been hit 6 times at this point. Is it likely that he's going to die at some point after getting hit with 6 rounds of 9mm? Depending on where he was hit with those first 6, you could say there's a substantial likelihood of that. Could he continue to be a bad guy for some appreciable amount of time before he died or before he was completely incapacitated? Yes. Therefore, the fight continued. Eli then closed to about 25 feet and took the last 2 shots and ended the fight. Eli took 10 shots of 9mm, hit 8, which is incredible, exceptional marksmanship under anybody's standards, certainly under mine, let me tell you. And he still needed 10 rounds to end the fight. So in just talking about a little bit of preparation, does that include, in my mind, more often than not, depending on what I'm wearing, almost always carry an extra magazine? Yeah. Does that mean I'm going to use 34 shots that I'm carrying around, that much ammunition in any given self-defense? No, not likely. But, you know, an instructor of mine 25 years ago looked at me and he said, Guy, you know, no one ever lost a gunfight because he had too much ammunition. I kind of like the logic of that. Let's take a break here. We'll come back. We'll wrap this up and discuss a little bit more about mindset and preparation given the threats that we're all facing out there today. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
As America celebrates 250 years, WIBC takes you inside the moments that built a nation.
The Spirit of 76. A 1-minute look at this day in the Revolution. The battles, debates, and turning points that transformed a collection of colonies into these United States.
Weekday mornings at 7:35 and 11:35, and afternoons at 3:35 and 6:35, or anytime on demand at WIBC.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
Guy Relford for the law offices of Guy Relford. You know, one thing we do at the law office I really enjoy doing is restore people's gun rights. A lot of times if people have an old felony conviction, that prevents them from carrying a gun, from legally obtaining a gun. That's something for a lot of convictions, not all certainly, but for a lot of convictions, we can help a lot of those people. A lot of people have an old drug conviction that was a felony or even multiple OWIs back in the day, and now have a felony on their record. A lot of those can be expunged off your record. Your rights can be restored. We do that. We do a lot of it, and we enjoy doing it. So contact us at the website. It's relfordlaw.com. You can send us an email right through the website, or the phone number's right there. You can give us a call during the week. If you've lost your gun rights, would like to potentially get them restored, give us a call. We'll talk through whether we can help you. That's relfordlaw.com.
You let him try violin because you love him. And if you love him that much, love him enough to make sure he's buckled up and in the back seat. Find out more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu, medicine. Use as directed, keep out of reach of children.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, y'all, I'm Blake Shelton. Being from Oklahoma, I know a thing or two about natural disasters. Tornadoes are common where I'm from and have affected my life and the lives of people I care about. No matter where you live, be aware of the dangers in your area and have a plan. You can create an emergency kit, come up with an evacuation plan, and know where to seek shelter. You never know when a disaster may hit. These simple steps can help save a life. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
You listen to WIBC, now come work with us. We're looking for our next integrated marketing specialist. If you're an experienced sales professional with a proven track record, apply now at radio1.com/careers. Bilingual speakers preferred. Radio 1 is an equal opportunity employer.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Talking about being prepared. And again, I think we are living today under a little bit more risk of domestic terrorism than we were yesterday. We were certainly under a risk yesterday as well. I think that risk incrementally went up just a bit with the events going on in Iran right now. And I've talked a lot about that preparation. Hell, I could sit here and we could talk for days, and certainly hours and hours and hours, well beyond the capacity of a 2-hour radio show. But the last point I'll raise, and a lot of times people don't think about this as well. You know, people have great guns and great gear and a lot of ammunition and holsters and body armor and who knows what, but they're not thinking about necessarily the first aid component. And I've told people for a long time that what they need is to be able to treat injuries as well, be able to stop the bleed, and to have an individual first aid kit to be able to treat injuries in the field. Critically important. I keep a IFAC, individual first aid kit, in my car all the time, and to know how to use a tourniquet. Do you know the basic rules of treating traumatic injury? Things like tourniquet the limbs, pack the junctions, seal the chest. If you don't know what that means, look that up and learn how to do it. You can have that with you. You can have a tourniquet with you wherever you go. You can certainly have one in your vehicle. I have multiple IFACs and tourniquets in my vehicle, and I know how to use them. I've taken that training, and that's something we should all do. If you know how to put holes in people, you ought to be able to know how to pack those holes and prevent bleeding just as well. That's one thing I'll leave you with. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Serving Indiana means being ready for growing energy demands. At Duke Energy, we're adding more power to the grid and working on hundreds of local projects to make your energy more reliable. We've strengthened nearly 20,000 poles, updated more than 270 substations, and prevented hundreds of thousands of outage hours with self-healing grid technology, so your power can come back on faster than ever. That's the smarter energy future Indiana deserves. Paid for by Duke Energy shareholders.
Oh, yeah, the Made in Indiana sale with Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus. With all the good stuff happening with the Hoosiers, let's give you all a better price on everything Indiana made at Thompson Furniture. I'm talking outdoor furniture by Polywood, which I have at my house. 50% off Indiana-made Smith Brothers of Bern.
All made by Hoosiers in Indiana and only on sale at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus, with interest-free financing and free delivery within 75 miles of their store.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater. My dad passed away at the age of 63. It's out of nowhere. Had a stroke. Super hard, obviously, for the whole family, but my dad had life insurance. This is why I have life insurance for my family, for my wife and 4 kids. And the best place to get life insurance is ethos.com, because you can do it in 10 minutes. And there's no medical exam and no blood test, just a few health questions. Get life insurance in 10 minutes so your family is protected. Ethos, E-T-H-O-S. Ethos.com/Mike.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Xfinity Tech Support, Matthew speaking.
Hi, I live in a pretty remote place, like Jurassic Park remote. No!
Wow.
Will Xfinity Mobile work out here?
Yep, the combination of reliable Wi-Fi and 5G makes it so that you can stay connected in all kinds of places. Plus, you get access to ultra-fast speeds and coverage, whether you're poolside or out live streaming with a T-Rex.
Hold still, you're about to go viral.
Welcome to a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile. Cut your mobile bill in half with 2 lines of unlimited. Discover a new era of Wi-Fi boosted mobile at xfinitymobile.com. Xfinity. Imagine that. Watch Jurassic Park with Xfinity. Savings comparison based on promotional rate for 2 lines of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited versus 2 lines of T-Mobile Experience More, Verizon Unlimited Plus, and AT&T Starter as of February 10th, 2026.
From the Duke & Air Heating and Cooling Mitsubishi Electric Studios, this is 93 WIBC HD1 Indianapolis.
Good night.
A day and now night of deadly U.S. and Israeli military strikes against Iranian targets, resulting in not only widespread devastation of Iranian weapon sites, but killing one of the worst despots in the world. The Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, along with dozens of others, dead. I'm Laura Ingram. Welcome to this special live edition of the Ingram Angle, where we will examine the military strategy undertaken in this joint U.S.-Israeli action, and also the political, economic, and political fallout that may occur. And tonight we're learning more about Iran's retaliation hitting military and civilian targets across the Middle East, making no friends there, from Israel to Kuwait to Dubai to Abu Dhabi. We start tonight in Cyprus, where Fox's Nate Foy is standing by with the latest. Nate, what can you tell us?
Hey, Laura. So, yeah, we're in Cyprus because the airspace is closed around Israel. We're going to try to get there in the next couple of days as soon as we can. But just a massive day. You mentioned the headliner that the supreme leader, the Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, is dead after an early morning American-Israeli strike in Tehran at his compound there. And he wasn't the only one killed. The exact numbers of who else was killed and how many is up for debate. But the big picture was a massive success. A U.S. defense official says the number's between 5 and 10 others. These are high-up people in the Iranian regime. Israel puts that number at 40. We know the IRGC commander was killed, as well as several people who work in Iran's nuclear program as well. But it was just the beginning of massive strikes in Iran throughout the entire day.